Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's video, which is going to be about the Wild Rift patch notes 2.2b. So in this patch, they're going to be doing some changes to the duo lane. They're going to be introducing the new champions, the new events, and also some systematic changes and overall champion changes. Now I know that I'm a bit late with this patch, and I apologize. I was working a bit late yesterday, so therefore I couldn't really get a video done in time. But in this video I'll mainly just be going over my thoughts and impressions of this change, if I think it's good or bad, and also I'll be going over what is being changed, so that if you haven't read it or if you want to know my personal opinions on the change, then you'll get it in this video. So starting things off, they're saying that Rengar and Kha'zix will join the Wild Rift later in this patch, alongside the rivalry with God King Darius and Garen. And they'll also be doing some changes to underperforming dual lane carries. So first and foremost, as you can see, we'll be getting Rengar and Kha'zix on May 6th at basically midnight. So Rengar is a ferocious Vestian trophy hunter who lives for the thrill of the hunt. That's basically a TLDR of Rengar. Now, I think that Rengar is going to be really dominating in the jungle, especially in the early phases where he can kind of abuse bushes to leap onto his targets. What I really want to know though is how are they going to add this leaping mechanic. It's going to be very interesting to see how it works out and how they add it, but I'm personally more of a fan of Rengar simply because he is a bit like easier to play. All you need to do is just jump from bushes on targets and assassinate them. While Kha'zix has a lot more like mechanical outplays with the isolation and invincibility. But I will definitely be picking both of them off the store right away when they come out. And I recommend that you do it as well, because I think that they'll be dominating in the jungle, especially in the early but also the later stages, since they kind of progress with the game through their passive ability. And Kha'zix is a Void champion, and he grows and the Void adapts inside of him. Kha'zix's intelligence has devolved as much as his form, and now the creature plans out his hunt and even utilizes terror in his victims. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting in playing these two champions, and I'm hoping that they also have the quest from League of Legends, where they need to assassinate each other in order to become even more powerful. On top of that, we'll be getting some new skins. Forecast Janna and Program Nami are kinda They're not really, shiny skins, so to say. They're kind of welcoming, especially for support players, but I'm personally more looking forward to God King Darius and Garen, which I'm thinking are going to be legendary skins. And then we also have, of course, one skin for Kha'zix and one skin for Rengar, which I think are also kind of subpar. And then we'll be getting some new accessories. It's kind of odd that they included the accessories from the last patch, because if we read the description, the icons are the Void Reaver, the Pride Stalker, the emotes are Adorable Assailant, but I mean, this isn't the icons and emotes that are, well, I don't think like that these two are the Void Reaver and the Pride Stalker. But oh well, it's welcoming nonetheless. And yeah, it actually looks like we'll be getting the Nemesis duel and an event for the Masters of the Hunt. So the conditions that need to be set are that both Rengar and Kha'zix need to be at or above level 13, and neither have dealt or taken damage within 5 seconds. Both are alive and both are at least 16 units apart. Ooh, this is interesting. A Nemesis duel won't happen every game these conditions are met, but when it does, everyone in the game will know through an in-game announcement. A champion wins the Nemesis duel when the opposing champion dies within 3 seconds of taking damage from the winning champion. That's interesting. So it means that it doesn't occur every single game, and they have to deal damage to each other for the event to proc. So if a Leona kills a Rengar and Kha'zix didn't deal any damage, the event isn't going to trigger. If Rengar wins, he gains ferocity during his ultimate Thrill of the Hunt, and if Kha'zix wins, he gains an extra evolution point, which allows him to evolve all of his abilities. This is going to be very interesting, and I'm actually looking forward to making a video on Nemesis Duel and just figuring out who is stronger when it comes to Rengar versus Kha'zix. Then we have some champion changes. We have Darius, Draven, Evelynn, Galio, Katarina, Leona, Teemo, and Ziggs. Starting things off with Darius, they're giving him a small nerf to his early game. They're nerfing his base health and regeneration, which I think is kind of nice, but I think that Akali and Malphite could have, or they deserved the nerfs more than Darius, because Malphite and Akali are really oppressing, and so is Darius, but this early game change isn't going to make or break him, so to say. And then we have a nerf to Draven as well. They're nerfing his base damage by 10 throughout all levels, which is kind of odd considering the fact that the dominating ADCs for this patch at least have been Xayah, Ezreal, and Kai'Sa. I haven't seen a lot of Draven, so I think it's kind of odd that he's getting, nerfed, but oh well. And then we have a nerf to my favorite jungler, Evelynn, which makes me sad, to be honest, and I think that Evelynn will basically be unplayable with Kha'Zix and Rengar coming out, since they'll basically be able to demolish her in her jungle. But they're increasing her ultimate cooldown by 20 seconds, 15 seconds at the second rank, and then 10 seconds at the final rank or level. I think that this is going to hit her quite hard because they nerfed Infinity Orb in the last patch. Now they're nerfing her ultimate, and I think they also nerfed her before the Infinity Orb nerf, so she's definitely falling out of the tier lists. Then we have Galio, and from what I can see, they're kind of nerfing his tankiness for the early stages of the game and increasing his damage for the passive, the slam and the Q, where he kind of throws a tornado with his wings. And I think that this change is very welcoming for Galio supports. It's not a big change it is a decent change for the mid lane, but the passive will mainly be shining through in the later stages of the game, because it's basically the same cooldown, at the first levels. And yeah, he'll basically just deal more damage with his Q. Katarina is getting a nerf, and I think that this is quite powerful nerf since they're nerfing her passive, which is Veracity, and not her Q, which means that she'll be able to basically deal less damage when it comes to trading. And I personally really dislike Katarina, so I welcome this change a lot. And they're also nerfing her E range, which is good because it means that she won't be able to get in and out of fights and trades as easily. So I'm personally really happy for this Katarina nerf, but I know that a lot of Katarina mains are crying right now. And then we have a buff to Leona. They're buffing her damage, base health regeneration, and the range on her E, which is her third ability where she casts out her sword, and then if she hits a target she flies to them and kind of roots them for a small duration. I think this is a good change because Leona's release was kind of overshadowed by Alistar and Braum, so I think that Leona will kind of be even with them now that she's able to engage from further distance and also deal more damage with her passive. And the passive change is actually quite big because she can proc it multiple times in a team fight. So first with her E, then with her Q, then with her ultimate, and then with her W on multiple targets. So that's really good. Teemo is getting a bug fix, so not much here. And Ziggs is actually getting a really small nerf. I'm actually surprised. I thought that it would be a bigger nerf to Ziggs, since he is very oppressive in the current patch, since he can just spam abilities and just deal lots of damage. But I think that this is most certainly a step in the right direction. It's going to impact his early phase a little bit, where he kind of, levels Q first and then wants to max it as fast as possible. But as we can see at the final levels, it's basically going to be the same. And yeah, as it states, this early game might be a little too explosive. Then we have some changes to the duo lane, and from what I'm seeing is that they're buffing most AD carries. So Ashe will be able to spawn her Volleymore, which is the ability where she shoots out arrows, which is good because she'll be able to trade more consistently with other champions such as Tristana, Draven, Ezreal, Kai'Sa, etc. I think that Ashe is pretty weak right now, so I think this is a good change. Tristana is also really weak. She's probably the weakest AD carry out of all, together with Ashe. And they're buffing her by increasing the damage on her E, which is the ability where you kind of stack a bomb and then you have to proc it 4 times for it to explode, or just wait until it explodes on its own. And they're also buffing her ultimate, which I think is really good because this gives her that ability to be an early lane bully and also be able to kind of stay in tune when it comes to the mid and later stages of the game. Next up, we have a change to Varus, which from what I'm seeing is also a buff. I think that Varus is kind of in a weird spot right now where he's powerful if you know how to play him, but he's kind of weak if you don't. So I think he kind of fits the niche players that really like his playstyle, which is all about landing 3 stacks with your W through auto attacks and then proccing it with your abilities. But his changes are that they're increasing his base mana, which allows for more poking with the Q and E combo, and also buffing his missing health damage, I'm assuming, so he'll be doing more damage with per stack depending on the missing health that the enemy has. And that's how I'm like interpreting this, which I think is a good change. 27% is actually quite a lot, but you have to understand that it's if you reach level 15, then you're basically at the end game. So just getting a kill there is basically game deciding. So I'm thinking that Varus will probably see a lot more light after the patch 2.2b. And then we have a buff to Vayne and a buff to Xayah. So Vayne is getting her AD increased and cooldown decreased, which is good because it can feel really hard to reach the later stages of the game when you're playing as Vayne. So I think that improving her ultimate allows her to pick off kills more easily, but also to be a scary kind of assassin AD carry, since that's really her role. And I think that this is, yeah, as I said, a really good change, and it's going to make her shine a lot more in the early and mid game, which in turn will make her more powerful for the late game. And as I can see, the cooldown is the same for the third level of her ultimate, but the AD ratio is increased by 10, which isn't a lot, but it's still something. And then finally, we have the Xayah changes, and they're actually buffing her, which I just think is like crazy, because Xayah right now is already an S tier champion, I'd say, and mainly due to her ability to stun and also her ability to evade abilities with her ultimate. So I think that buffing her here is going to just make her crazy in both solo queue and competitive. I'm pretty sure that she will be dominating the duo lane for the coming 2 weeks, so make sure you pick her off and learn how to play her if you're interested in picking up the AD carry role. Then we have some systematic changes. From what I can see, they're nerfing the enchanter supports, which means that we'll see Braum, Leona, and Alistar a lot more. And I actually think that this nerf isn't really like a good one, because all enchanter supports that build Ardent Censer and Harmonic Echo are going to suffer quite a lot when it comes to their potential against tankier supports such as I've mentioned, Braum, Alistar, and Leona. So I'm questioning this change, but we'll see how it goes. I'm pretty sure that all enchanter supports will more or less fall down a tier. Then they're also nerfing Conqueror because it says that poke champions are able to stack it before fights, which I can understand. So if you're playing, for example, Ezreal, you can just poke, and then stack your Conqueror before you commit to a team fight. And Conqueror is really a rune that's more fitting for bruisers and fighters such as Tryndamere, Fiora, Jax, etc. So I think that this is a nice change that kind of puts Conqueror in the position where it's supposed to be. And then Barrier Rune is getting a 30-second nerf, so it's going to take 120 seconds to use it again rather than 90 seconds, which is understandable since Barrier and Flash are your go-to runes in mid and in the barrel lane. So I think that nerfing it is going to make people think about if they want to go barrier or if they want to go ignite, because or maybe even heal. So it's really good change in my opinion. I still think actually that people will still pick barrier, but it won't be as much of a auto pick choice where you just pick it no matter the situation. So hopefully people will be more cautious of picking it now than they were before. And then finally, there's also two changes to Infernal and Cloud Drake, and from what I can see, they're nerfing the damage and movement speed on them in order to tune them with the Mountain and Ocean Drake, which I think is understandable, especially for like competitive and high elo solo queues. A lot of the team just instantly surrender when they lose the first Infernal Dragon, because 8% damage is a lot, especially if you get it in the early phase, as it stacks throughout the whole game. So I'm glad that they nerfed Infernal and Cloud Dragon. Mountain Dragon is kind of weak since it only gives you bonus HP, and it gives you like from 100 to I think 350. So if you go like full tank Mundo with just health items, you won't be able to get like 600 HP worth of value from it. And Ocean Dragon is in a pretty good spot. You gain 8%, or I'm not sure if it's 8 or 6%, but you gain Vampirism, which is also always welcomed, no matter the champion or no matter what playstyle you have, as it basically just allows you to heal off of your abilities for more, so to say, or to just heal off them if you don't have any Vampirism at all. So I'm thinking that this is quite balanced when it comes to dragon balancing. I'd say that Mountain Dragon might need a little bit of a buff in order to place them all in soon, but I have to say that Infernal and Cloud Drake are they were most certainly the most OP dragons. So I'm personally really happy with this change. And that was all for the patch 2.2b. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of it. Do you think that the champions deserve the buffs and nerfs that they got? What do you think about Rengar and Kha'zix? And let me know of your opinions. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on the notifications by clicking on the bell in order to, stay up to date with my content. But that's all I had for now. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care and have a good day. Bye.